Hello, you incredible little marketing bees. You're tuned into episode 72 of the Marketing Buzzword Podcast.
This is the Marketing Buzzword Podcast, the podcast where we dissect the world's most common marketing buzzwords. Hold on tight. We are about to fly around the beehive to see the latest buzzwords that stuck to the marketing bees.
Hello and welcome to the bite-sized section of the Marketing Buzzword Podcast and project aptly named Bitesize Buzzword. I'm Ben Roberts, and in these bite-sized snackable episodes I'm going to help you dive deeper into what a specific marketing buzzword actually means, help you decide whether it is or isn't important for your business, and if it is, how you can actually incorporate that buzzword into your marketing strategy. Now this week, we're going to look at the buzzword gamification, and it's something that we covered all the way back in maybe episode 58, 60, testing my knowledge. Covered it a few weeks ago with a guy called Michael Breen, and it got me thinking a lot about the way in which a talkative can use gamification, how other businesses can use gamification, so I thought this would be an opportune moment to use this as our bite-sized buzzword. So, what is gamification? Now, gamification ultimately is the idea of either internally or externally using games or competitions to increase participation and engagement within the business. This could be either directly on products, it could be with certain activities within the business, it could be basically anything. And it's the idea of actually that you're never too old for a game, and actually games are stimulating and engaging, and it actually helps people buy in more to what the product is. So they spend more time on page, they actually spend more time interacting with something because it's slightly more fun. And it's the idea of just basically, internally or externally, it's making things more fun. And it doesn't have to be particularly huge either. Gamification can come on in all sorts of sizes. So you can see where some brands have literally created entire games around their product, like huge games. There are other ones where it could just be something really simple. So it could be creating a puzzle. It could be trying to work out some sort of anagrams. And all sorts of games are available. Literally any game that you can think of is a potential one for some gamification if you can find that it's relevant to your business. And it's that element of competition and prize winning and just ultimately solving stuff. People like to solve stuff. They like to work their brain a little bit in a way that actually they can get a prize from it, a result from it. And it's just a way of being able to, I don't know, it's a way of connecting with the audience in a way that they actually want to be connected with. Obviously there are a few errors, though, that companies often make when they're trying to implement some sort of gamification. And one of the big ones is thinking that it has to be big. I've seen this a few times now, especially at more sort of medium-sized organisations who are trying to perceive themselves being much bigger than they are, and they have a bit of resource behind it. They end up putting loads of money into creating games that ultimately become so far from the company and actually then having nothing to do with the company that's pointless. And because it's being put on by, let's say, a financial services company, as an example, they're not the most interested. So when they suddenly come up with a game, people aren't suddenly clamouring to get onto this game. They have to sort of learn it. But actually it can just be really, really simple. And I think it's coming back to that KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Honestly, the art of simplicity can be the best one. Some of the games I know, and think about probably that you've played as well, will have been simple. One of the most simple games I've ever played, and wish our company had come up with this, was Snake. So for those of you who had the old Nokia phones, playing Snake, I remember as a kid playing this game for hours. I remember stealing my dad's phone. And actually, God, I'm making myself sound quite young there. Yeah, wow. But I remember actually stealing one of my dad's first work phones, so I could actually play Snake all the time. And it's an amazing way of actually capturing people's attention. You don't have to think huge. You need to create all these like virtual realities, these different worlds, of actually something like that, where there is a task, there is potentially some peril, and actually there's an outcome, and you've got to do X, Y, and Z to try and either be the best or stop or have some sort of outcome. And the other error I find that people often make is actually assuming that it has to be online these days. Yes, we operate in a hugely digital world, and for your customers, possibly online could be the best way of doing gamification. Absolutely. So don't think that I'm saying don't do offline, but actually, especially internally, online and offline is probably still a much different balance. I guess it depends on the type of office environment. So for here at Talkative, pretty much everyone works in the office. Yes, people work from home occasionally, but generally most people work from the office. And we have a game on our whiteboard that's called Backlink to the Future. This is a marketing game. And the idea is then we're recording the relevancy and the authority of different backlinks that each person's attaining for the business, and each month you get different points. So for example, we measure it via Moz domain authority, and if you get 0 to 29 domain authority, you get 1 point, 30 to 49 you get 2 points, and then it sort of goes more and more, it goes up quite steeply after that. Now that's one example, and then obviously we mix that in with the relevancy as well to make sure that we're having not just any backlinks, it's relevant backlinks, and these are the sort of games that you can do. For us, it's actually a really great way of encouraging people to get involved in the marketing team, to actually have a little buy into what we're doing. So we actually, then the prizes are all decided by our team, which is great. And one of the other areas I want to cover quickly is don't waste people's time unnecessarily. Now, gamification should never be a barrier to sale. It shouldn't be something that actually, look, you're now like, hang on, I've spent 3-4 minutes on this game, I haven't really got anything from it, and now actually I can't be bothered with this company at all. It's something that's quite a hard one to quantify initially in your idea, but again, this is where it comes back to keep it simple. Because if you try and make it too complex, you end up potentially making it a barrier to sale. If it's simple, people can stop it quickly, but they also can get quite engaged in it. Something to think about. Okay, so we've sort of looked at some of the negative side, so let's actually look at the positive side of it. So how would you do it? Well, there are a couple of places within your organization, your customer journey, and internally that you can find probably will naturally align themselves to some sort of gamification, or be easy, potentially easier areas to put some sort of gamification into it. And it's finding a place that doesn't have any engagement. Now, in the customer journey, that could be waiting for orders to process. It could be a case of waiting to connect to an agent at a call center. Now, what sort of games could you possibly incorporate in that to make it a bit more fun? How can you keep people's attention? Because otherwise people will drift off. When you talk about, so again, part of what we did back with this backlink to the future is we found I was trying to think of a way in which I could motivate all my team to understand the importance of quality, relevant backlinks. And it's okay, how do we actually do this? How do we motivate people month after month to try and do this and focus it as one of their big tasks? Because that was one of our key goals. And getting mentions and all that stuff. So that's where we came up with our backlink to the future. And so it's just finding those little gaps within what you're doing. Now you can also use gamification when you find it to make. You have to find times where people have to wait, say, 5 minutes without doing anything. Yeah, enhance your boring areas, because you will have boring areas. Even if you're the most fun business, you potentially will have really boring areas of your business, your online journey, your offline journey. How can you make those a bit more fun? These are things that not everyone's doing. So actually, by doing it now, you stand out above other people. Because other people see gamification as an unnecessary. And yes, in areas it can be. But also it can be an incredible way of enhancing that customer experience and that customer journey. So if you actually want to focus on the experientialization, that's a long word, but the customer experience, the customer journey, how people work and interact with your business, then actually gamification really, really could be for you. Can you make the process easier as well? So can you use games to help people understand? Can you help people to feel part of the business? So does it mean that it's not a chore to learn about the business? So actually a case of, if you have 9 things that people need to know before they get involved with you, instead of just having a listicle, what you could do is you could almost put in behind 9 blocks, and basically have people have to open them up, and there's a different colour or a different theme inside, a different way of presenting it, so maybe it makes things a little bit more interesting. That's just an idea. I mean, don't go and say that one didn't work, because I've literally just come up with that one off the top of my head, so please don't hold me to that one. And so to round off, I want to say, how do you measure gamification? Because that's be one thing. People will go, okay, I understand, maybe gamification will help people, but actually, how do you measure the tangible benefit that it's brought to my business? One of them could be time. By time, I mean actually how long are people spending on your site? Are they dropping off? So funnel drop-offs is another one. Funnel drop-offs linked to time on page. Now, are you losing people from your funnel because they're bored? Are you losing funnel because they can't find what they want? Can you make things more interesting so that they actually increase time on page? Something to look at. Engagement. How much engagement do your games get? If people aren't playing them, they're not actually enhancing anything. So you can stop it and change it out, or maybe just leave it out in that area of the journey, because maybe that area of the journey is okay. Things like that you need to think of. And shares. Actually, people love to share games, especially depending on the type of game that you're looking for, the type of game you have. If it is a shareable game and you've sort of built it alongside your product and not sort of into your journey, then people may want to share it. That is something that you can and probably should measure, because ultimately it shows that people really enjoyed it and they want other people to get the enjoyment that they have from the game. So never think that actually you shouldn't necessarily build it outside just because you don't want to make it too big. Actually, making it outside means you can share it, and you can actually use gamification not only as a way of improving the customer journey whilst they're already found you, or internal processes. You can use it as a way of actually drawing people to your business in a non-salesy way. Gamification is really important. I think it's going to be increasingly huge. I think that actually there are so many ways you can implement gamification into your business quite quickly. So I think it is something that you need to look at, and I would love to hear sort of how you'll implement that. And please do check back at Michael Breen's podcast a couple of months ago. So thank you very much for listening. Please do make sure you check out the rest of the episodes of the podcast, marketingbuzzword.com. I've also changed up the homepage this week. Ooh, exciting. And let me know in the comments, or drop me an email through the website and let me know if you want me to talk about any of the marketing buzzwords. And before I let you go, if you are enjoying the show, please do like, subscribe, and share. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
This podcast is part of the You Are the Media Network.